Leo, get ready for this. You are about to enter billionaire status. And no, that isn't wishful thinking. It's a shift in destiny that has already begun unfolding. From September 6th to 8th, you are standing inside a divine financial portal. This is the window where wealth, power, and legacy align with your soul's vibration, because the universe isn't just sending blessings. It's sending them directly to your door. This isn't a coincidence. You didn't just end up here watching this video. There are no accidents when divine timing is at work. You have been guided to this exact moment for a reason, because something bigger than you is moving. And it's moving in your favor. For the next few minutes, I want you to pause the noise of the outside world and lean in with your full heart. You're not watching another horoscope forecast. You are receiving a message from the higher realms, a divine financial summons calling your soul forward. If you felt like you're on the edge of something massive, you're right. And if you sense that abundance is no longer something you chase but something chasing you, then know, the shift is already in motion. There is a sacred door opening between September 6th and 8th. Astrologically, the moon will be illuminating your second house of wealth, while Venus, planet of money, beauty, and value, is supporting you from Libra. At the same time, Jupiter in Taurus forms a golden trine with your Leo energy, magnifying everything you touch. These are not small aspects. These are the kind of alignments that build empires. And the most powerful part? You don't need to force anything. The money that's coming to you now isn't compensation for effort, it's a return for all the inner work, all the heartbreak, all the moments you didn't give up. The universe saw it all. And it has been holding your inheritance in divine escrow. Now, the release has begun. Let me ask you something. Have you been noticing repeating numbers like 777 or 888? Do you feel more calm lately, even when nothing's changed on the outside? Do you sense that something is about to happen, but you can't explain what? These are not coincidences. These are spiritual confirmations. They're signs that your frequency has shifted and your outer world is about to catch up. So, if your heart resonates even a little bit with what I'm saying, I invite you to type 888 in the comments right now. That's not just a number. It's your declaration to the universe that you're ready, you're aligned, and you're available to receive. When you write it, you're anchoring the energy that money is no longer withheld, it's flowing to you now. Let me also say how deeply grateful I am for your presence here. Every time you like, comment, subscribe, or share this message, you're not just supporting this channel, you're strengthening a spiritual movement. You're affirming that you believe in divine timing, in miracles, and in your own power to rise. So please stay with me until the very end, because what I'm about to reveal next will not only affirm what you've been feeling, it may forever shift how you see your purpose, your prosperity, and your place in the world. Are you ready? Let's begin. Leo, take a breath. Let the stillness wash over you for a moment. What's unfolding between September 6th and 8th is not merely astrological, it's a divine rhythm unfolding across the fabric of your reality. These 3 days carry a sacred vibration, like a celestial key slipping into a long-locked door. And that door is located within your second house of wealth, value, and self-worth. When the moon moves through this house in your chart, it doesn't just reflect finances in the material sense, it mirrors your relationship to deserving, to abundance, to receiving. It taps into the silent spaces inside of you that have long asked, "Am I worthy of more?" And now, it begins to answer, "Yes, you are. At the same time, Venus radiating from Libra enters this conversation like a gentle diplomat, harmonizing your connection with money through relationships, beauty, and balance. Venus doesn't shout. She whispers. And in these whispers, you'll hear invitations to say yes to opportunities that align with ease, not force. Old money wounds may rise to the surface, not to punish you, but to be rewritten. Perhaps you were taught to give endlessly without receiving. Perhaps you were raised to believe that wealth was a reward for sacrifice, not alignment. These beliefs are not yours to carry anymore. And just as this internal dialogue begins to open, Jupiter, the planet of expansion and divine compensation, forms a harmonious trine to your Leo sun from the grounded, resource-rich sign of Taurus. If you've been waiting for a sign that your effort, your spiritual growth, your unwavering perseverance is being noticed, this is it. But not in the way you expect. This is not about sudden lottery winnings or random windfalls, though for some, that too is possible. This is about the universe honoring the agreements you made with yourself long ago, to not settle, to walk away when it was hard, to begin again when it hurt, and to keep choosing the light when darkness was easier. This is why I called this a golden portal. Because golden moments don't arrive with flashing lights. They arrive in the form of ease after long struggle, clarity after confusion, and open doors after endless knocking. This 72-hour window is not asking you to act quickly, it's asking you to align deeply. The financial blessing coming to you may not look like a paycheck. It may be a new idea, a reconciled contract, a connection that leads to something bigger. And you must be spiritually awake enough to recognize the seed even when it doesn't look like the tree. Imagine for a moment the soft sound of coins falling not on concrete, but onto earth. Not chaotic, but rhythmic. Not accidental, but intentional. This is the frequency of harvest. And not a harvest of survival, but one of restoration. Restoration of trust in your path. Restoration of belief that what is yours can find you, without you having to fight for it anymore. Write this down: I am stepping into a miraculous financial field beginning today. That sentence is a contract. And your energy is the signature. Every time you say it aloud, every time you write it down, every time you believe it just a little more, you draw that frequency closer. Because money isn't just paper. It's energy. It's recognition. And right now, that recognition is arriving at your doorstep. This is a time to give thanks before the evidence appears. To walk like someone whose name is already being whispered in rooms they haven't entered yet. And most of all, to understand that what's coming is not a gift, it's a return. Not because you earned it through effort, but because you finally aligned with who you've always been. Stay open, stay grounded, and most of all stay present. The next part of your story is already unfolding. There are moments in life when the silence around you grows so loud that you begin to wonder if the universe has forgotten your name. Times when you give everything, your energy, your loyalty, your kindness, and yet somehow, you remain invisible in the very spaces where you thought you mattered most. If you're a Leo listening now, you may understand this intimately. You've walked through seasons where your effort bore no fruit, your light was taken for granted, and your heart gave without limits. Only to find yourself standing alone, carrying emptiness in return. But what if I told you, what if I reminded you that you were never being punished? What if all those dry seasons, all that waiting, all that aching, was not the end, but the beginning of something sacred? You see, in energy healing, we understand that life isn't random. What you've endured wasn't about failure, it was a sacred agreement, a soul-level initiation designed not to break you, but to shape you. Like gold, you weren't discarded, you were refined. You were placed in the heat not to be destroyed, but to be purified. This is the unseen preparation that only the most radiant souls are asked to walk through. And Leo, you are one of them. Your fire wasn't meant to burn out, it was meant to become unshakable. So when you ask, why did I pour myself into that dream, that person, that purpose, and end up empty? I want to offer you another lens. Maybe you weren't being emptied. Maybe you were being cleared. Cleared of the people who couldn't carry your light. Cleared of the roles that kept you small. Cleared of the structures that were too fragile to hold the weight of your calling. Because the life you were born for demands room. It demands stability, strength, and above all clarity. And that's what you've been building, even if it didn't look like it. This is what I call the spiritual escrow. Just as in finance, where money can be held safely until the right conditions are met, your blessings have been accumulating quietly, patiently, and fully waiting for the exact moment when your soul, your mindset, and your alignment were ready to receive it. And now, Leo, the account is being released. Not because you forced it. Not because you hustled harder. But because you endured. Because you refused to let bitterness win. Because even when no one clapped for you, you kept showing up with integrity. That's why these next few days, this new season, feels so different. Something in you has shifted. The pain no longer feels sharp, it feels like purpose. The solitude no longer feels like exile, it feels like protection. And that voice within you, the one you tried to silence so many times because it asked you to believe in things unseen, that voice is rising now, stronger than ever. It's telling you, it's your time. I want you to write this somewhere, as a sacred reminder, I wasn't overlooked. I was being prepared. Let that truth anchor you. Let it soothe the part of you that wonders if you're behind. You're not behind, you're realigned. And now, the doors that stayed shut for so long are beginning to open, not because the world changed, but because you did. You've become the version of yourself that your future was waiting for. And the beauty of it all is that this time, you don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to beg. You don't have to shrink to be accepted. What is meant for you now recognizes you not just by your name, but by your frequency. The universe knows you. It remembers every tear, every prayer, every moment you chose to rise when you could have disappeared. That is why, Leo, the harvest is here. Not out of pity but out of justice. Not out of chance but because your soul kept its promise. And now, the universe is keeping its own. There's something profound about waking up and feeling, without any clear evidence, that something extraordinary is on its way to you. Maybe it's a quiet stirring in your chest, a moment of unexplainable peace, or a flash of clarity in your thoughts that whispers, today is different. If you've felt this lately, Leo, know that it isn't random. It's resonance. It's the subtle signal that your energy has shifted into alignment with what I call the billionaire frequency, not a number in your bank account, but a vibrational field that magnetizes opportunity, wealth, and meaningful expansion toward you. This frequency is not just energetic, it's also astrological, deeply woven into the cosmic conditions surrounding you from September 6th to 8th. Right now, Saturn is in retrograde motion, revisiting patterns of scarcity and responsibility tied to your past. But here's the gift: Saturn retrograde is not a punishment. It's a cosmic audit. It's here to close karmic financial cycles that have silently drained your power, whether it was ancestral scarcity, under-earning, or giving more than you received. You are no longer required to carry those burdens. This planetary movement signals a clearing, a release, a final recalibration of what abundance means for you and how it wants to arrive. At the same time, the Sun is illuminating Virgo, the zodiac's master of structure, intention, and discernment. In this light, you're being called to refine how you think about wealth, not just how you make it, but how you hold it, honor it, and use it as a tool for freedom, not fear. You're being invited to shift from, how can I get more, to, how can I organize my life so that wealth flows with ease. This is more than budgeting or business strategy, it's spiritual stewardship. It's about recognizing that money is not the goal. Alignment is. And when alignment is present, money flows as a reflection of that harmony. Layered over this is the vibration of the number 8 in numerology, which is active in your field during this period. 8 is the symbol of infinity turned upright, a loop of flow, return, and divine balance. It's the number of the CEO, the empire builder, the soul who came not just to accumulate, but to circulate energy in meaningful, scalable ways. When the energy of 8 shows up, it is a universal confirmation that it's time to rise to a higher level of ownership, not just over money, but over the thoughts, habits, and expectations that shape your experience of wealth. This is your invitation to step into legacy consciousness, to ask not just how you will thrive, but how what you build will endure. So I ask you now, have you felt it? That shift inside your being? The quiet knowing that you're no longer trying to get rich, you're beginning to remember you already are, in every sense of the word? You're not chasing money. You're aligning with the version of yourself who already holds it, who moves through the world with clarity, confidence, and calm command. If this resonates, I invite you to make it tangible. Write this in your journal today: I am broadcasting on the frequency of abundance. I only attract what matches my wealth energy. This isn't a wish. It's a declaration. A line in the sand. Because once you choose to vibrate on the frequency of legacy, of prosperity, of purpose, you become unshakable. You become magnetic. And the world begins to mirror back to you what your spirit already knows. Your time has come, and your name is already written on the ledger of those who lead with light and build with power. Sometimes, the universe whispers before it roars. And Leo, if you've been paying attention, you may already feel a change in the air, a current moving beneath the surface of your life. It doesn't always arrive in grand gestures or sudden windfalls. Sometimes, it begins quietly, in symbols and sensations that speak not to your logic, but to your inner knowing. This is how energy works. It nudges. It prepares. And when financial blessings are drawing near, they often send their messengers ahead of time if we are willing to notice. You might dream of money not just in the form of cash, but gold, coins, even vaults or treasure chests. These aren't just fragments of your subconscious mind. In energy symbolism, dreaming of wealth often means that your spirit is rehearsing how it feels to hold more. You're being invited to experience abundance emotionally, before it lands physically. Similarly, if you've been seeing repeating numbers like 777, 888, or 1111, you're being reminded that you are in alignment with a greater timeline, one that transcends the ordinary flow of cause and effect. These numbers are not coincidences, they are spiritual time stamps, confirming that you are on the path of activation, and that money, opportunity, and success are seeking you, not the other way around. Another sign that wealth is approaching is when someone from your past suddenly reaches out. Maybe it's an old colleague, a forgotten friend, or even someone who once owed you something emotionally or materially. These reconnections are not just social. They're energetic checkpoints. In astrology and energy work, the past often returns not to distract, but to deliver. What you thought was closed may still hold a seed of prosperity, and it may be coming back now, ready to grow under new conditions. If you've noticed that you no longer feel jealousy or comparison when others succeed, that too is a sign. You're no longer operating from scarcity. You're vibrating in abundance. True wealth consciousness begins when you see someone else's success as evidence that yours is near, not as competition, but as confirmation. And when you start to seek solitude not because you're isolating, but because something inside you knows it's time to prepare, that's not loneliness. That's incubation. The soul always retreats before it expands. Just as seeds fall into the earth before they sprout, your spirit pulls back to strengthen its roots before stepping into something bigger. And then, perhaps the most sacred sign of all, peace without reason. When everything on the outside still looks the same, but your nervous system has stopped panicking. When you no longer chase, force, or fear. When you feel calm in the unknown. That's not denial. That's alignment. That is your inner world syncing with a truth that your mind hasn't fully caught up to yet. It is the stillness that comes before the arrival. So don't overlook the small signs. They are not meaningless. They are sacred signals from what I like to call the spiritual bank, a place where every act of faith, every sleepless night, every moment you kept going when you wanted to quit, has been recorded. These signs are the notifications that your withdrawal is being processed. You've earned this. Not just through action, but through growth, through surrender, through becoming someone who knows their worth without needing to prove it. Write this down somewhere, you'll see it. I recognize the signs of abundance, and I welcome what is already mine. That single sentence is a doorway. Say it with softness. Say it with belief. Say it like someone whose future is already whispering back, I've been waiting for you. Because it has. And Leo, it's closer than you think. After everything you've walked through, Leo, there comes a moment when the universe stops asking you to wait, and begins asking you to lead. Not from a place of ego, but from a place of remembrance of who you truly are. The shift that is happening now is not only about receiving abundance. It's about realizing that you are the architect of it. You are not simply here to attract blessings, you are here to build systems that bless others. You're not just being handed wealth. You are being asked to create a new relationship with I-tone rooted in power, purpose, and presence. This is the vibration of self-sovereignty. It is the energy of someone who no longer waits to be picked, praised, or permitted. You are not applying to be chosen. You are claiming your position as the one who writes the blueprint. You are the one who decides what happens next, not by force, but by frequency. By the silent authority of someone who knows they are enough. There is a subtle but transformative shift that occurs when you move from asking, "How can I get more?" to declaring, "I am already a source." It's the difference between surviving and stewarding, between hustling and holding. And this is the core of what it means to rise into the role of a wealth creator. Not just someone who gets paid, but someone who channels value, impact, and energy into every space they enter. In astrology, Leo governs the heart, the solar plexus, and the creative fire. And now that fire is being called forth in a new way, not just to shine, but to direct. Not just to inspire, but to initiate. Your energy, when it is clear and intentional, becomes the organizing principle for everything around you. Money begins to move toward you not because you chase it, but because you've become magnetic to solutions, ideas, and elevation. You no longer operate from lack. You operate from design. So in these next 3 days, you are being invited to embody this new level. Not in theory but in ritual. Start each morning in silence, sitting with your breath, and allow one phrase to rise through your entire system. Wealth does not come to me. It comes from me. Feel how that changes the way you sit, the way you think, the way you expect. That is what recalibration looks like. You are resetting the energetic tone of your entire life. To help anchor this, choose to wear gold or deep violet colors that resonate with both the crown chakra of divine vision and the solar wisdom of the sun. These shades don't just make a statement, they radiate alignment. They remind you of the royalty coded in your soul. And then, take a moment to write 3 declarations that speak directly to your new identity. Not what you want, but who you've become. Perhaps something like, I am the source of sustainable wealth. I create impact through presence. I lead from abundance, not approval. Let these words become your energetic password. And finally, don't keep this to yourself. True wealth flows. Share this message. Send this energy to someone else. Because every time you do, you're affirming that your wealth is wide enough to include others. That your expansion creates room for more than just your own rise. If your spirit feels ready to lock in this new chapter, type the words, 888 I open the portal of wealth, in the comments. It may feel small, but energy doesn't need volume to activate. That single act is your line in the sand. Your turning point. Your spiritual signature on a new contract. Not to receive, but to create. Because Leo, you're not here to play the game. You're here to write it. Leo, if you've made it to this moment, I want you to pause for just a breath and feel what's different. Not outside you, but within you. Something has shifted. Maybe it's subtle. Maybe it's still unnamed. But you can feel it, can't you? That slight expansion in your chest, that deeper inhale, that quiet but certain knowing that something powerful is waking up in you. That's not the result of a prediction. That's the result of a remembrance. You're not the victim of circumstances, you are the architect of your destiny. And the life you desire isn't waiting on someone else's permission. It's waiting on your decision to claim it. Everything we've talked about today, the alignments, the energy shifts, the rituals, the symbols, none of it matters unless you choose to act from the frequency you've just accessed. Because abundance isn't something you get. It's something you match. And when you begin to live as if your wealth has already arrived, the world has no choice but to rearrange itself to prove you right. So ask yourself, how would you show up tomorrow if you knew without a doubt that everything you've prayed for is already on its way? Would you still shrink to fit into rooms you've outgrown? Would you still ignore the small inner voice urging you to take that next step, send that message, say yes to the version of yourself you've been postponing? Or would you walk differently, speak differently because now, you understand that your very presence is a signal to the universe that you're ready? It's easy to forget that the portal of wealth doesn't open through striving, it opens through surrender, alignment, and courage. And yes, sometimes that courage looks like getting quiet. Sometimes it looks like writing one truth in your journal. Sometimes it's typing a number like 888 in the comments, not because it's magic, but because it's you anchoring the energy in real time. It's your soul saying, I'm done doubting. I'm ready to receive. So here's what I want you to do. Comment below, 888, I'm opening the financial portal. Not from a but for you. For the version of you that's been waiting for a sign. For the part of you that wants to believe again. And if this video stirred something in you, if it reminded you of who you are, or even just made you feel seen, then don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone else who needs it. You never know how one act of giving can multiply your receiving. And if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness, where we don't just predict the future or co-create it. Every subscription, every comment, every moment of presence in this space strengthens the frequency we're building together. You are not alone on this path. Remember this, don't ask, when will the money come? Ask, am I the kind of person who's truly ready to hold it? Because the truth is, money doesn't fall randomly. It flows toward hearts that are open, minds that are clear, and lives that are aligned with purpose. You're not dreaming, Leo. You are witnessing the beginning of the moment when everything starts to flow toward you. You've done the work. You've heard the call. And now, the universe is simply responding. Like I always say, when the soul says yes, the universe cannot say no. So stay here with me. Stay in the energy. And stay ready. Because your name is already written on the next wave of miracles that's coming home.